Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are now in Ray's Juke Joint. Lights are on, drinks are flowing, and we are here today with a few of our friends from the BGR team. And we are here always with my guy Eric. Whenever we're doing baseball talk, Eric, how you doing today?
Good, buddy. Good.
Good, good. Let me introduce the panel here. King Mac, also known as the King in other realms. Your Grace in BGR. He is the creator and founder of Bad Guy Radio. Say what's up to the people, Mac.
How you doing?
Word, word.
Often duplicated.
Word. And then we got Caleb. Caleb is co-host and speaker on Round the Bag of BGR show. You can hear him over there talking with Justin or Jay Targaryen in other realms, and whatever else you want to call my nephew, he is that. So, Caleb, say what's up to the people.
What's up, guys?
All right, and then we got Asinine. Everybody knows Asinine. Who would have thought he would ever come back on the show after that last fruit bar that he had at the end of the show the last time he was on? But we're good because he's grown. It's a new year, 2024. Asinine is another contributor, co-host over at BGR. He does Soul of the South Side. He does Smoke Room and other shows. Whenever they say it's time to record, Asinine is there. So Asinine, say what's up to the people.
Never complacent, no longer racist.
Okay, see, it's never a dull moment. It's never a dull moment. It's never a dull moment. So let's just get right to it. What today is all about. We started a fantasy baseball league last year. We call it the Skumbag Baseball Classic. So when you see SBC, that's what that means. Scumbag Baseball Classic. That's our crew. That's our team. That's our family, the Scumbags. And we have a fantasy league, fantasy baseball league. We started last year, 10 teams last year. And let me fix this while we're here before we even get too far, because there was one person in here that was the champ from last year.
Yeah, title, please. The title. Put the title up the banner.
Yep, I got you. So SBC champ is Eric. He won it last year. And it was a 10-team league. I came in 9th. Caleb came in 2nd. Matt came in 3rd or 4th. I think 9 came in 6th. I want to say it was the
I came in 5th. Justin came in 6th because I beat him that last week.
So 5th for you, 6th for Justin, and so on and so forth. But ultimately, Eric won the league. So we kind of wanted to make it more interactive. Wanted to have more fun with it. We wanted to have just so many where it felt more real. And Dynasty League is where it's at. And so last year we voted that we was going to have a Dynasty League, and we're here now. And we just so happened to decide on December 10th or something like that.
Around there, yeah.
Yeah, that we were going to start our draft early and give it a 48-hour. Each pick had a 48-hour period to pick. And we ended just recently, right before New Year's. So it took a month to get it done, but we got it done, and it was cool and everything like that. But we just now we finished our draft, and we're waiting to do the minor league draft and how we're going to figure it out. So we'll talk about that at the end. We'll have our commissioner. Caleb is also the commissioner of the league. He's the one that brought it to the table, and everybody bit, and we went, and that's where we are. So this year we said not 10, we're doing 12. So we added a couple of our friends to the league, and now we have a 12-team league, and you guys will see the results of the draft here in a minute and all that good stuff. But before we even get there, I'm gonna allow the champ to speak his mind. Champ, last year you started pretty bad, and I'm not even going to I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It wasn't a good time initially, but what did you learn, and then how did that translate into what you started to do this year into your draft, going into a dynasty? Oh, before we get started, before you say something, I'm sorry. Dynasty means who we drafted today will be on our team till we decide that we can no longer do fantasy baseball. So basically, to the end of time, this is our team. So we drafted guys that would be on our teams until whenever. So Eric, I'm sorry. Go ahead. How was your thought process from last year? What did you learn, and then what did you take into this year?
Yeah, so a few things. I had never done the weekly points head-to-head format before. So starting off last year, like, a couple couple I was dominating, but you only win 2 or 3 points because while you're doing that, you're blowing the other categories. So kind of had to re-scope the whole roster as the season went on to be able to complement some of the stuff. Didn't do me any good to out-homer the guy by 10 home runs if it's only worth 1 point, if I'm losing strikeouts, batting average, and everything else. So I had to really rephrase the team. The other thing I kind of learned from the draft last time was, for some reason, our league doesn't care about pitching as much as other leagues. Like, good pitchers slide, pretty far. Last year, first round, I was in your spot, Ray. I was 10 and then 1. I went Burns and Cole in the very first 1-2, or whatever. Then realizing that I didn't even have to, I didn't get a position play until that third round. So it was quite a change. So going into this draft, I knew I wasn't going to go pitching early because I knew some good people would slide based off the way our friends drafted last year.
Right. Caleb, same set of questions to you, but you being the veteran of fantasy baseball, you kind of had a better idea on what you were going to do outside of a couple other people who play it more often than I did, because last year was my first year too. But go ahead, Caleb.
Well, I knew I had a little bit of a step on most people because I played this format for, I think I've been playing this fantasy baseball format since 2015.
Okay.
So I've been around the block a few times for this one, but my big goal was always to get hitters that have average, that can hit me homers and don't strike out as often. But if they do, be able to eat it up with their homers or RBI talent. I was excited for another dynasty draft. About 3 or 4 years ago, I started a dynasty draft with my buddies from high school and then some college friends as well. They're really big baseball guys as well. So it was nice having another league of dynasty, especially with a bunch of knowledgeable baseball minds and you guys as well. Knowing that a league startup would probably be a great idea for us. Last year in this draft, I got what I wanted and needed. I think I made it all the way to the championship game, but I didn't really change my roster as much as Eric did, just due to the fact that I didn't think it needed any adjustments because I thought I could just keep on running the way I was because it was working all year long. But at the end, hitters got cold, pitchers got soft, and that's what happens.
Well, it was a good series. Everybody was watching you two go at it every day. We would be checking our app just to see what was going on. Mac, it's on you. Same set of questions. What did you learn last year playing your first year in fantasy baseball, and then how did that affect what you thought going into this one?
Well, last year league was different as far as because of the pitching category. So if you kind of had a good bullpen last year, you can get away with a lot. So I really couldn't compare last year leagues to this year league. But the one thing I did learn was you do need pitching, because last year I basically dominated because of my offense. I had majority of the sluggers with Ronald Acuna and Mookie Betts and Aaron Judge kind of carrying the way for me, but I didn't have any pitching.
No, I say you had Jordan too. Yeah,
I had Jordan too. I forgot about Jordan. So yeah, that's even more. But I didn't have really the pitching at the end, and I kind of tried to shore up my bullpen, but it was kind of too late because the way we had it set up was you got the saves hold category plus the hold category. So if you had the bullpen, you can kind of almost dominate like 4 categories, which was pretty interesting. You know?
All right. Asinine, same set of questions for you, bro.
You saved the best for last. All I learned is that I'm smarter than absolutely all of you. That's all I learned. Look, I'll be honest. How I draft.
Said that.
Yeah, it's interesting you said that too.
Look, I don't know what y'all trying to say, but stop saying it. All right, look. I learned that I was smarter than absolutely all of you. The key to my success was Juan Pacheco Soto, also known as Bambino. Okay, he was the main proponent of my success. He had a month last year where he hit 378, slugged 611 with an OBP of 484. All right. You can't do nothing with that. And then on top of that, I had a pretty good bullpen, and I was going against some absolutely baseball illiterate people, like some of the people on the panel with me today.
What success did you have?
I just wrote it down. It says success equals 6 out of 10. I guess I didn't know that was.
Wait, let me see what it says, Eric.
Getting 6 out of 10 is
I was trying to
success.
figure out.
Where did
I
I didn't see the graphic? I didn't see the graphic.
So y'all funny, huh?
Yeah. So what I learned was like there are certain traits within hitters that project, right? And so that kind of led me to look for them same traits, i.e. the stats that like they really mean something. That made me how I drafted this year. And I think that like a lot of people looked at 1 or 2 categories, i.e. slugging and maybe average or whatever, but you need like more than that for players, in my opinion. So that was what I learned. Plus, I learned late that I can't be impulsive. Like when people, when big name players start to falter, you should just stay with them because they're gonna come back. And I learned that because I got impatient last year and I got rid of some guys that I should have never traded away. And I said, well, no, not this time around. Plus pitching, like everybody's brought up pitching. Like pitching is crazy. Like Mac literally rotated 4 guys on and off the waiver wire the whole fucking year. And he just kept dropping them, putting them back, I had a stable set of guys until like the last weeks when I made a push because I finally realized like your whip is more important than ERA. And if you got a good guy, you got a pitching staff that keeps the whip down, then you're pretty much going to have a low ERA, high strikeouts, and low walks, which is how you win the pitching category. So that was what it was for me. So let's get the champ back in here. The champ is next up on the screen. So we're gonna talk about Eric. Let's talk about I lost my damn questions, man. What'd I do? Oh, here we go. So what type of players were you looking for this year? Because this is a dynasty. So now these players in the first few rounds should be the cornerstones of your team. So go ahead and talk about
so like Caleb made a great point, and the reason why Caleb didn't have to change his team much last year is he drafted a pretty good team versus what I did. The more you were kind of saying about pitching in a way, like you almost wanted well-roundedness, right? A little bit like, like who can affect 3 or 4 categories, who can maybe steal some bags, maybe hit some homers, get some walks, who don't K as much, who's not going to give away categories. Like last year, I was on pace to set the world record for a team for strikeouts because I didn't care. It was homers or nothing.
I had that a lot.
Like, yeah. Just my team was just a bunch of strikeout and people. Like it was crazy. So I had to get off that. So like coming into this year, I knew that I wanted a little bit who could affect 3 or 4 different categories early on in the draft. That's what I was looking at.
Okay. So same question to you, Caleb. Well, you kind of said it, but reiterate.
On what I was looking for drafting wise.
Yeah.
My drafting strategy basically goes to I want young players for the dynasty version. I want young players that are going to give me success for years to come. And that's pretty much what you'll see when you look at how I drafted. I think it's it's a big deal drafting prospects that you're high on, and going with your gut and knowing what you see when you look at prospects. And that's pretty much how I went off of, and then tying those prospects with vets that have been in the league for a few years that have that stance where you can rely on them coming down the stretch. Is how I kind of built my team.
All right, and we're going to see the results here in a second. Mac, how was your strategy going into this year?
Strategy was simple. Make sure I get Ronald Acuna.
It was it, yeah.
Cornerstone of my roster, because you're talking about a guy that affects so many categories by himself. He affects batting average, he affects stolen bases, he affects slug, he affects home runs. Whatever you can think of, Ronald Acuna does it. So I just wanted to make sure, like, I got him and that he be the piece of my team from here on out. Like, I can build around him if necessary. So that's all. I didn't expect Aaron Judge to fall to me in that way he fell to me.
You going too far. You went too far.
But I just wanted Ronald Acuna, man, because he's the youngest and best player in MLB right now. So.
Yeah, I got you. Asinine, you're up.
I mean, my draft strategy was a bit, kind of the same, although I went for a better Mexican, which is Juan Soto. I know year after year, Juan Soto's going to be healthy, unlike Ronald Acuna. I knew he'd be healthy, and and then everything else will fall into place. But in reality, though, just a bunch of people that I know ain't going to strike out a fuck ton. Like I refuse to be like Ray and Eric that first half. I absolutely refuse. I don't know how y'all was looking at them 106 strikeout weeks and was like, yeah, that's okay. Don't know how y'all was doing that, but yeah, that's what I'm doing. And I'm getting 3 people that are going to get MVP votes. So
yeah. So and we're going to talk about it in 1 second about we're going to put up the draft results here in a second, and then we're going to talk about the teams or whatever. For me, it was just I could not have 106 week strikeouts again. Like, that was what was killing me every week. Every time I played somebody, I struck out more than anybody. So I had to get better hitters, especially in a dynasty where, they're going to be here forever. I need them to be good hitters or project to be good hitters if they're young guys. So that's where I was with mine. And then I realized that, like, I don't need as much pitching this year. So I didn't pick as much pitching. I picked more positional players that played roles. I have a lot of role players on my team. Like, so anyway, Eric, let's get to it. Everybody, let's get to it. So here's what happened. We had our draft lottery. I think it was Asinine gave me the site, said, hey, just put the names in here and then just press go, and it's going to fucking accumulate, a lottery draft or whatever. How the fuck did the 1-2 guys that won the league last year get draft picks 1 and fucking 2? I have no.
It worked pretty well. Thanks, S9. I'm assuming it was random.org is what you sent him. I'm assuming that's like the most common randomizer.
I don't know what it was.
Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. All I know is I put names in. I got the last pick, and Eric, who won last year, got the first pick. I was shocked, but it is what it is. So here goes the draft right here. Eric had the number 1 pick, which he in turn traded away. He traded it away. And then same thing happened with our number 2 pick that Caleb had. He traded his pick away. He traded his pick to Asinine. Eric traded his pick to Mac. So whenever you see E-Class, that's Eric. Hangover Homer is Caleb. This is Italian Bull, who picked 3rd. Harold's Chicken, that's Asinine. Targaryens, that's Justin. Mac is Mac. 5-2 Italian, that's our friend Ken. Roseland Pitch, that's our friend Dre. This is Dan Goodwin. Sox Nick. we have White Sox fan Ian, and then you have me. All right. So, Mac, why did you make the trade to Eric for Ronald Acuna? Why did you need that pick so bad? And
Yeah, because it was weeks where he just carried the whole squad. Honestly, like you talking about, you're getting the youngest player and the best player in the MLB, and a guy that's gonna give you 40 and 70, which is unheard of. So he's giving you 70 stolen bases, 40 bombs. I believe his batting average was like 320. I could be wrong, but it was up there. So he's gonna hit for average. He's gonna hit for power. He has the speed. It's like, what more could you want as the foundation of your team? So that's why I had to make that trade. I don't know if Eric was going to go Acuna number one, but I don't see how anyone, if they got the number one pick, I don't see how anyone cannot go Ronald Acuna.
All right, so Eric, what were you thinking? What was the price that you put on this number one pick going into this?
I mean, of course, I was going Acuna. I mean, he was 1-1 on every single board. The mainest thing was I didn't want to sit around and wait for all the way to come back. If I could pick up two guys before waiting all the way to come back, and knowing we knew Soto was going behind me, we had Bull. I wasn't really interested in Soto. So in the first round, so trading back with Mac, I was looking, and obviously Acuna's the best player, right? No doubt. He's 1-1. There's no doubt about it. The question is, could I pick up 2 or 3 first rounders by trading back and get more overall team equity on the deal? That was kind of the plan or whatever.
All right, and then Caleb, you did the same thing. How did you, when Asinine approached you with the trade, what did you in your thought process say, this is how I want to this is the return I'm looking for this number?
Right. I knew Asinine wanted Soto. So I knew that he would trade. Yeah. So my thing was I wanted Corbin really, really bad, and I knew he'd be there at 4. So that's why I traded backwards to get Corbin and get more equity for that as well. So that was where my thought process was. Might as well get an extra top 50 player for 2 slots. That's where I was thinking.
Yeah. Eric was a proponent. He gives Asinine a little shit about it, and Asinine, you get to defend your position. Eric says you could have got him at 4. You went too high. What do you think?
Look, if there's one thing I've been taught in sports, it is to go get your guy. And I don't care about what all these draft projections are saying. These draft projections, might I remind y'all, are based off of what everybody else in the world does. And might I also remind y'all, everybody else in the world, most of everybody else in the world are absolutely fucking stupid. So I don't care what everybody else did. Oh, he got projected to draft here. That's cool, right? Everybody in America gets the right to vote. Well, mostly everybody. That's a different conversation. But mostly everybody is stupid. So why should I care, right? I don't care. Like I said, a 25-year-old slugger who don't get hurt, and Father Time cannot take away anything he's good at. He will be good as long as he wants to be.
And I hear you. I was kind of worried about being at 12, and so I can't remember if I reached out or maybe Dan reached out to me. I'm not sure, but I wanted to get earlier in the first round because I had my eye on Kyle Tucker, only because I learned how to read Savant. I learned how to look at Baseball Reference as a tool as far as like projecting players or whatever, and there's only certain players you got in the league that when you look at Savant, it's like all red. That's insane. So like everything is red for the player. I moved up 3 slots in the round because I wanted Kyle Tucker. I wanted Kyle Tucker because he gives me what Max said about Acuna and what Asinine is saying about whatever. I believe Kyle Tucker's the same type of player. He just fills so many slots as far as like, and I see you shaking your head, Asinine, but that's what I see.
Jordan was right there, bro.
Yeah, but Jordan also strikes out a lot.
Jordan the fuck he doesn't.
He does.
He only gets hurt a lot. That's fair. He doesn't strike out a lot.
Yeah, well, I wanted more stability, so I wanted more stability. But we can
and Tucker will get you stolen bases, which is
and the stolen bases aspect too. So that's kind of where I was going with that when I moved up to the ninth pick. But I had to give up my turn in order to do that. And then I realized later on, like, the turn is important. But anyway, Eric,
You gave up a lot.
well, I gave up 2 picks. But I made a nice trade to bounce back to get back in the 3rd round, and get 2 more picks. So, but Eric, let's go.
Throw it up there. Let's talk through it.
Yep. So let's talk to let's look at your draft. Okay. Let me go over here. Let me get to your team. Matter of fact, we'll have 2 teams up at the same time. We'll talk your team and Caleb's team at the same time, and we'll just kind of talk about how you went round by round as a result of what other people did in front of you. So there it is. So there's Eric's team, and then there's Caleb's team.
Yeah, so trading back from 1, hoping maybe there's a chance, knowing that I was worried about, I didn't know what Caleb was doing. You guys had a little more insight to that. I was worried about Caleb, but I was hoping maybe Witt would fall to me, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought I was going to be in a play for either Witt or Tucker, to be honest. I had no idea that Julio Rodriguez was going to fall to 1-6.
Yeah, I didn't think he would either, to be honest with you.
So I was completely shocked when I was able to get what has been, even though I know success equals 6 out of 10, don't care what all the other big boards say. But like the guy that's going like 2 and 3 in most drafts fell to 6 in our draft. I obviously couldn't pass there. And I was able to pick up Jose Ramirez coming back with the max swap for the 1. Just another guy that walk to strikeout ratio is pretty even. Stolen bases, home runs, average, extra base hits. He affects a ton of categories, or whatever. And then 3rd round, being able to get Trey Turner, similar type of player, not quite probably the power of the other 2, but I mean, I think he was perfect last year in stolen bases. I think he ended up, I can't remember what it was, but I think he was 35-0 or 35 caught, 35 stolen, 0 caught. Some power out of the shortstop position, a little bit of average as well. So that's how I started off my draft. There was potentially, you will see some big boards where that's 3 first-round picks there with Julio, Ramirez, and Trey.
Yeah, like if you look on, and shout out to Fantrax, their platform allowed us to do the draft. Jose Ramirez had an ADP. ADP is the average draft position. He had an ADP of 16.
But you also got to remember on those ADPs that they don't relate to a dynasty league.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk about yours, Caleb. You went Carroll, and then somehow Matt Olson made it to you at pick 11.
Yeah, which is nuts. Yeah.
And then you end up going 2 picks. Ellie De La Cruz, 3rd round, 2nd pick, and then Vladimir Guerrero, 3rd round, 4th pick, and that was compensation for your number 1 overall pick, correct?
The compensation was the 4th.
Okay.
The reason that I got the 3rd is because Asinine and I had a bet after last season that I would have a better record than him, and obviously that was going to happen anyway. So.
Okay, right.
Hey, y'all been taking too many pot shots at me. What the fuck?
So my thought process right away: Corbin Carroll, stolen bases, average, gonna have some pop. He's easily 40 stolen bases, easily. He's probably gonna have 50 this year, somewhere in that round. Matt Olson, he's gonna give me easily 40 homers, tons of RBIs, probably 120 at least to 130. He's going to strike out. Obviously, that's a problem, but his average is still going to be there. It's going to be 270, 280, 260 every single season. Great lineup.
Caleb, while you're right there too, because you and I had talked on the side, and you can tell down to them and Vlad talk about like how first base was a little bit of a weak position overall, right? So like
100%, and that's
so
exactly
grabbing like an ace at first base, which is weak fantasy position. was part of your strategy.
And that's why I went first baseman, because I've been looking forever, but I've looked at how first baseman falls, and getting 2 top tier first basemen gets you RBIs and homers every single year. And when you get 2 top tier first basemen that are anybody's top 5 first baseman draft pick wise in a dynasty league, it's 2 is probably Matt Olson, maybe 1 sometimes if you want to disagree, and then easily 5 or 4 is Vladimir Guerrero.
So what do we?
Go ahead.
No, I was wondering who was the number 1. Did anybody go before Matt Olson, or
Freddie Freeman did?
Freddie Freeman went before.
Yeah.
Where did Freeman go? Let's see.
That's Nick, I believe.
Oh
And
yeah, he picked him first round 10.
Yeah, and then Asinine took Harper, which is, I think you can argue either way, but I think Matt Olson's better than Harper.
Okay.
At what?
Hitting.
Man, whatever.
Especially at the first base position. That's why I did that. But
okay. But you've been catching some flack, and I don't know. People don't see it. We'll talk about it. But you did pick Ellie De La Cruz. Some people felt you picked him kind of early. According to everything out there in the world, you picked him right where he's supposed to have been picked.
I don't care what everybody
That's
said.
not even a dynasty league, might I add.
I don't care what everybody said.
Well, Mac, here's the thing. He's easily 20 homers, 50 stolen bases, 40. He has a 40-40 potential. That's just what it is. Even if he does hit 260, 240, 250 in that realm somewhere.
He's not hitting 260.
He will.
No.
Well, we shall see. But that's the projections. He was projected, to go around there in most fantasy leagues.
And that's not even in a dynasty league. That's a normal.
Right.
There's a draft.
Well, then people are just normally stupid, and that's fine.
I agree with 9 on that.
All right.
If you look at any big board, I know Asinine says it's dumb, but obviously I've been around the block a few times with fantasy baseball, so I think I should know this, that big boards don't lie, especially in baseball. And everybody sees it, besides Mac and Asinine and the BGR crew that always gives me shit when we're on the wavelengths. So I love Ellie De La Cruz with his speed, his athleticism. You can't teach that.
I do too.
The only thing you can teach is obviously
can't teach them strikeout rates.
I had him last year, Caleb, as you know. I really enjoyed him. He did sit on my bench toward the end of the year though, most of the time.
He hit 200 the last 2 months of the season.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm projecting for the rest of my
and slug 14.
He's projected for the rest of his career. So let's get into 2 more guys. Let's go, Mac. Let me see where yours is, Mac. Let me get to your team. Let's talk about what happened with you. No, never mind. We're going to Asinine. He's first. So Asinine, you made a trade last year. I mean, you made a bet last year where you lost your 3rd round pick. I want to say was your 3rd round pick, and then you had to give up your 4th round pick to acquire the Juan Soto in the Juan Soto deal. Correct? Am I right in that? Okay, so talk us through what happened and how you still managed to, get your first 4 picks in. Because you're the only one that picked in the 6th round as your 4th pick. As I'm looking at the thing.
So once I realized that was the position I was in, at that point it was like, fuck youth. I'm trying to be competitive. Like my next pick was the 5th round, and I come on. So I picked Jose, who although recently he's had injury problems, I don't think that's gonna stick because he's been healthy literally his entire career outside of that. So lately he's been a little weird. And then Bryce Harper, he got hurt, but that's like a kind of 1-for-1. Position players never need to get TJ. That's weird as fuck. And then Soto never gets hurt. That's not a problem. And then Justin Steele, who might I add, to my horn a little bit, I picked him with my last pick in the draft last year. And he damn near won a Cy Young.
He damn near won a Cy Young. That was crazy.
Yeah. And then And then Josh Young. I liked what he did with Texas, and I feel like with another year he'll figure himself out a little more. And then especially with that lineup protecting him, only God knows what he can do. If he was anyway. And then Logan Gilbert. I needed some more pitching, and then my pitching I think my pitching is a bit weak, but I don't know. Justin Verlander is clearly a god, and then my bullpen, y'all ain't got a chance.
Well, we're gonna talk about it a little bit later, but we just needed to see what your strategy was because of the trades that you made. It was kind of just like how are you going to get, how you going to fill your team out.
Speaking of that trade, and more so the bet, live on this show, Caleb, you want to take the bet again?
Live on the show, Caleb.
You want to take the bet again, Caleb?
Yes.
Send it through.
Okay.
Oh wow! So live on the show. It is January. It is Martin Luther King Day.
That's what I'm like. Caleb's already hard enough to beat. Can you stop giving him more goddamn picks every year too? Like he's already hard to beat.
No, I'm gonna whoop his ass.
So the bet is that Asinine will have a better record and come out better this year in the Dynasty League than Caleb will. So
did Nine barely make the playoffs?
He
Hey, I was like 4. Shut up. I was like 4.
That was success. That was success, Mac. You said that was success.
So I mean, we can't really. He believes in what he does. He believes in how he got his team structured, and you just go off that.
Talking about me like I'm Gump or something.
Yep, you're not Gump. You're just they think that you
Buford.
You finished 6 out of 10. That's second tier.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, and I can't talk. I came in now. I can't.
Third tier, probably, if you want to break it down.
Yeah, I'm terrible. Mac, let's get to you. Well, we already know you. So if anybody ever heard Mac speak in a space or whatever, Mac is very much I need sluggers. I need people who gonna hit the ball over the wall. He said that 1,000 times, Mac. So here we go. Here's your team. Let me make sure it's up on the screen here. There you go, Mac. Mac, let's talk about your first 4 or 5 rounds here. You went Ronald Acuna. You got Aaron Judge in the second round with the 12th pick. And then you didn't have a 3rd round pick because you had to give up some stuff. You had a 4th round pick where you picked Zach Gallen, 5th round pick, and Mike Trout. So what were you thinking? Oh, shit, you picked Blake Snell in the 6th round?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know that. Okay, I'm sorry. That was a real reaction. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. Continue, Mac.
First of all, I need to know what was their reaction for.
I just didn't know you picked. I didn't know you picked him in the 6th round.
Is that a good reaction? Bad reaction?
No, it's a nice reaction, Mac.
I don't know if I would have picked Blake Snell that early.
The Cy Young Award winner. How many quality starts? Low ERA, good strikeouts. Only negative, he does have some walks. But
some walks. He led the league in walks.
So like I said, we can't. We didn't discuss the excellence of Ronald Acuna enough already. It is what it is with that pick.
Hey, Matt, I got to put this up for you. That's for you. I don't know why that's there, but it's for you.
I don't know.
Brightside, get your lame, man.
That was Brightside said.
Yeah. I have no idea what he's talking about.
He's talking about the things you be saying, but go ahead.
He must be looking at that game over there. But anyway, so we discussed the excellence of Ronald Acuna enough. Aaron Judge, I can't believe this man fell to me at 24. Basically, that's why I got him. That's a positive. That's a plus. You're talking about a guy who played 99 games last year and still had 37 home runs, something ridiculous like that. To me, Zach Gallen, besides what my man Dre did as far as picking Spencer Strider, I thought he was like maybe the 2nd or 3rd best young pitcher in the league or available for this Dynasty League. So that was a no-brainer. Mike Trout, I think people are giving up on Mike Trout too early. I know he gets injured a lot, but we also know if Mike Trout is healthy, what he can do. You're talking about a guy who put up like 44 bombs, almost 50 bombs, gonna hit for average. Got the power, of course. Not so much on the RBI side. He never was really a major RBI guy, but you're gonna get the walks and the OPS. So I like what I did in the draft, man. I took chances where I need to. I think people kind of overvalue age because I think I got Mike Trout, Nolan Arenado, even Bogarts a little bit farther than where they should have went. I think people overvalue age in this draft just a tad bit.
So you're saying that a lot of the owners looked at age as a deterrent to draft certain players. I get you. I get it. I was the same way. I thought about. I thought kind of like how Caleb said it earlier. You need youth to take you into the future, and picking young guys that have a high ceiling guys was kind of like where I was going with my draft.
But it's an old saying in baseball, right? So if the veterans that I took, if you flip over their baseball card, they're going to give you practically what's on the back of their baseball card, which are excellent numbers, especially for Nolan and Trout.
But how many years?
To me, it wasn't really a huge risk. Like, okay, yeah, Mike Trout, he's been injured the past 2 or 3 years, but when he's healthy, he's still giving you great numbers. You know what I mean? I got him in whatever. I don't know what round it was, but it wasn't, it wasn't like I picked him in the first or second round or anything. So to me, I got great value there. I got great value with Arenado. I got great value with freaking Xander Bogart. So it was a great draft to me.
Yeah, you got him in the 5th round.
But to add on that too, Mac, right? I don't know, Eric probably would agree with this, but how long until those ages run out of gas? When does that time run out?
I the way I feel, I only need 3 or 4 years for them. And then you got to think you're holding a minor league draft every year, so you can kind of supplement with that. To me, it's much more. I understand people wanting to win later on, but to me, I'd rather win. If I can win within the first 3 years, I can get me a couple of championships. I'm happy. Whereas if you taking young guys, like I look at your draft, don't get me wrong, as far as age, you did well, but you also took a huge risk on a lot of players that had small sample sizes. So that's a toss-up. You know what I mean? Where I got solid veterans where if they healthy, I'm going to get great production. You know what I mean? So I like what I did.
So I'll round it out, and then we'll talk about a little bit more on your teams in a second. But let me just talk about my first few picks here. So for me, I like I said, I traded up to get the 9th pick so I can get Kyle Tucker. So I had to make a couple more moves. I got 2 picks in the 3rd round, and I kept my turn in the 4th round after I gave up my 312 pick. And then, as you can see, after my 4th round pick of George Kirby, I didn't pick again until the 7th round. So I had to. My mind was like, okay, let me get some of the best hitters with the best averages that are young and can do other things other than just hit the ball. So Kyle Tucker, Royce Lewis, Matt McClain, they can hit for average. Matt McClain has a small sample size, but what we saw him do last year was just, if you know who Matt McClain is for the Reds, then you know what I'm talking about. Royce Lewis, adversity, coming back from injury, so on and so forth. What we saw in the playoffs from him was not a fluke. So I believe in Royce Lewis. So I took 2 chances right there with young guys. And then if you know George Kirby's one of the best young arms in the major leagues. I think he's a Cy Young winner in the next couple of years. And I've loved Christian Encarnacion Strand for the whole time we've been doing this fantasy thing. I called a hold to him last year, just doing some research. And I was like, yeah, I have to have him because, like y'all said, first base is like weird. So I needed guys to play multiple positions too. Middle infield guys and guys who could play multiple positions. So that was kind of my strategy going into it. And we'll get the guys that I picked was the reason why I picked them, is to give me some leeway to make some moves a little bit later on if I need to.
Well, one thing too, we probably didn't talk enough about, and it started with Caleb's pick. And if you pull back up your team there, Ray.
My team, okay.
Yeah, if you look there, you got, and I didn't do the best job of this either. I didn't do the best job, but you got like Royce Lewis with 2 different position tags, McClain with 2 different position tags, Christian with 2 different position tags, Diaz with 2 different position tags. That gives you a lot of flexibility, as people get hurt and stuff moves. I didn't do the best job of that on mine. I was a little worried as I got on the draft that I had one position player only. But
yeah,
that's one thing I do like about your team. I like you have some flexibility within your own roster there.
Yeah, that was one of my major things too. I wanted guys that could play multiple positions and still produce also. So that was kind of. Go ahead.
I'm gonna give you something to think about, but this is later on. But I got to give it to you right now before I forget. Something to think about as far as that. What you were just talking about, Eric, later on is in the minor league draft. That's why it's going to be important the type of players people pick too, because their position could ultimately change when they make it to the majors. So that's something to think about.
And most will. I mean, other than an outfielder probably an outfielder more than likely, but your shortstops aren't going to be shortstops. Like they're just shortstops in the minors. Most of them are moving.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's so Eric, so after those, so that's pretty much like the top guys gone in the first 5 rounds. Like,
yep.
Like the best major league players are pretty much done in every draft in the first 5 rounds. Am I right about that, Caleb?
That's fair, yeah. Yeah, I mean, once you get out top 50, then you start thinking about what you need and what you value more on a team.
So that means when you guys went back to your teams and after like the 5th round, like where did your mind start going, Eric? And then where did your mind start going, Caleb? Let me bring it up so you guys.
Yeah, so I went, 3 position players early, so you can tell right away in 4 and 5 I wanted to solve. I hadn't drafted a pitcher yet, so going Gausman, Nola back to back,
right,
as it came around to try to anchor up my pitching deal, and then. If I had something back, it might be right here. But, like, this is a trade I made with you. I got the extra picks in the 5th and the 6th.
Uh-huh.
I liked Will Smith. Catcher, weak position, whatever, in deals. I didn't mind that. Goldsmith, and probably if I had to redo a pick, this would probably be the one. Just older, not that I can't – I'm a little caught between where Mac and Caleb are a little bit. And the reason I'll say it is because I'm the defending champ, and I plan on being a 2-time defending champ. So, like, I am trying to win this year. Like – there's nothing sweeter than a repeater, right? So I'm trying to just repeat. So I got caught up and I knew first base was a terrible position. I knew there was nothing there, and I was hoping that maybe Goldsmith go back here, but I regret the Goldsmith pick. Coming back, you get Max Fried. So having Guzman, Nolan, and Fried, along with Valdez, as you see down, being my 4 starters,
right?
I think I closed up that gap pretty good for me not taking a pitcher early with some depth there.
So can I ask you a question about what were you thinking as far as your young guys? So I'm looking at a couple young guys, O'Neal Cruz and James Outman. So O'Neal's coming back, but he messed his ankle up last year. And, they say he's 100%. And what gives you confidence going into the next year with him?
I mean,
James Outman at 50.
I'll say that Ellie's ceiling is a little higher than O'Neal's, but they're in the same scope of type of players. They're in the same ballpark. So, the fact that I could get him in the 8th round with that shortstop tag, I don't know how long that will hold, but, you're looking at a 30-30 guy, possibly at a shortstop in the 8th round for the next 15 years. That's a huge ordeal. So I was very happy I was able to get him in the 8th round.
All right.
Yeah, signing athletic dudes is probably the biggest thing, especially when you look at the shortstop position. If you can get guys that are athletic that can hit bombs and steal bases, that's categories, right? But we talk about categories. We talk about homers. We talk about RBIs. We talk about stolen bases.
Right.
Once you get homers, you get RBIs, you get hits.
Yeah.
You get runs.
Mm-hmm.
That's a massive thing that you can do. That's 4 categories.
That's 4 to 5 categories every week that you're depending on these guys to get you. So that's kind of where that's a good segue going into what Asinine did, kind of to come back to his draft, after he was able to start getting his picks back. So this is where, for me, Asinine had the most interesting draft because he had to overcome a lot just to fill out his roster with quality players. And I think he did an outstanding job And when Max says that other people has outstanding drafts, I don't see why he can't see Asinine did a great job bringing his back, because I mean he went from not picking to having to really come back and make some moves. So Asinine, let me pull up your team again. I must go down past Justin Steele, and then we're gonna go. So talk us through your picks after Logan Gilbert.
So I absolutely handicapped the shit out of myself with that Soto shit, and then also losing the bet the year before. I absolutely handicapped myself. So at that point, age was out of the window for me mostly. It was like I need, because one, I'm in the same boat as Mac. I'm not gonna lie. If I can get a ring early,
right,
I can just talk shit and skate the rest of the years. If I can just go ahead and get a ring early. I can't. Because I can't talk my shit if I ain't got a ring. That's why I'm not really snapping back at Eric ass every time he says some shit to me. Eric, just wait until I get my shit, yo ass.
I gotta get it in. Someone else is probably gonna have one after this year. It's hard to repeat.
But
especially in baseball.
But yeah, age went so far out of the window for me. No Wander Franco or Josh Giddey. But it went so far out the window. It just got stupid at that point. So you see, I drafted people like JD Martinez and Justin Verlander and shit like that.
Well, one thing he was a great pickup, and you said it earlier, right? So you're in a hole. You're behind. You know that you're falling behind all these people because you didn't have the picks. So what you did was you pivoted to try to lock down your bullpen so you could have one strength there. I mean, you can see this is what you did in your draft. You're like, is there any position I can possibly have a little bit of a dominant team that maybe I can also maybe move some players later on as the year goes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you built up your bullpen. You can see it here.
And that's definitely what it was. I'm not gonna lie. Look, my plan this year is Juan Soto, Bryce Harper, Jose, and bullpen, and hold on. Honestly, that's really what it is. And then throughout the year, I'll make X move here and there. And then down there, you see Clayton Kershaw. He's coming back at some point near All-Star break. And Clayton Kershaw, I don't care what's wrong with him physically. As long as we're not talking about the playoffs, he's in my opinion, the best left-handed pitcher we've ever seen. So Clayton Kershaw is going to do his thing. Jose, look, I was shitting on Jose all last year, but in all honesty, I believe that's just one of them things where it takes him a year to get used to where he at, and then he gonna start balling like Francisco Lindor, like Juan Soto, and name after that. So same shit.
So tired of hearing Juan Soto, man. Go ahead.
And you think we not tired of hearing Ronald Acuna? Oh, all right, shut up. But yeah, bullpen and my three hitters and hold on, and hopefully Giancarlo Stanton finds himself.
Yeah, that would be a good thing if Giancarlo can find himself. But you know what? I think that the research that you're doing for the minor leagues and the guys that are sitting there on the waiver wire throughout the year, you'll be fine. Like I ain't worried about that. I'm worried about your pitching. I have to see your bullpen every time I play you. You know what I mean? Like, so that's like, that's a strength. Like Eric said, that's a strength. You have some of the best arms coming out of the bullpen in the league. Doval, Munoz, Gratterall. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, who knows what Garrett Crochet.
Apparently, he's supposed to be a starter.
He's supposed to be stretched out now. We're gonna see. So we shall see. Mac, let's get to you.
Yes, sir.
So let's go past we're gonna get past Blake Snell. So you just start going all over the place, in my opinion. You just went everywhere. But talk us through what you were thinking each pick, or not each pick, but just kind of like give us the highlights of the pick.
You talking about after who? Blake Snell?
So let's start with Arenado.
Arenado, I feel like he's a top 3 third baseman in the league still with the bat. So that was an easy pick for me. I have no issues with it whatsoever. I don't think he had a terrible year last year at all. So going with him wasn't any problems at all. Christian Walker, I thought I got great value there from a first baseman. He's a guy that's going to hit 30 home runs on a good team, can give me some RBIs. So I like that. And then of course Xander Bogaerts, I couldn't believe I was able to get him in the ninth round. I don't know if people thought he just was terrible last year, but if you go look at his numbers, he wasn't bad. He hit 285, almost 20 home runs, so his power production is not bad. He had over 800 OPS, I believe, so no issues there. I believe I got one of the best young bullpen arms in Devin Williams, also capable of having 100 strikeouts coming out of the bullpen. Also going to give me some saves, so I couldn't complain about that at all. I was shocked to get JT, a catcher that can give you 12 stolen bases, give you about 19 home runs, plays in a good hitter's ballpark, so that was solid to me. And then, honestly, Jordan Lawler is my favorite pick behind Blake Snell because, to me, I was able to get a top 10 shortstop prospect and a young player. And after Blake Snell, I really wanted to start adding some young talent. So that was like my first kind of attempt at doing that. Like, I didn't want all the young players that wasn't established that everybody wanted early in the draft. I didn't want those guys because to me, it's still up in the air the type of production or performance you're going to get from that. So I was like, what could I get that's young early on, or not like super young, but that still can produce and not that old, and I can get value from them because people is overvaluing age. And then I said later on in the draft, guys that don't necessarily have that big name, I'll be able to pick them up that has some youth, that has some age, and that's what I did with the second baseman from Julian from the Twins. I was able to pick him up, so that was kind of my plan. It's like,
right,
okay, I done got me a bunch of older established players that can carry me for 3-4 years, and then I can take risks on young players later on in the draft from guys who don't have that big name and guys are not really looking at them, and I can get value from those guys. You know?
Yeah, I understand. I get it. Like I said, I like the fact that you did get some young guys. I like Nolan Shanuel. He's going to be just like as you guys know, some people like slapdick hitters, some people don't. I think Nolan Shanuel is going to be an everyday, like he's going to get on base like every day. So
yeah, and I like
but you got Campusano, who is one of the promising.
I like that pick as well. I think he's undervalued too. He's one of those names that people expected to pop off, didn't really pop off, or have the years they expected him to have. But I still like the value in him. So I think I did pretty well. The only pick I really hate, but it doesn't matter because it was the last pick, is like Matt Chapman. But I even like where I got Chris Sale at in the draft, especially with him
going
now moving to the Braves. I think I got great value in that. So
yeah, I can't wait to pick Justin's brain about his team. But let me just kind of talk about mine real quick. So I knew I needed to start picking up some talent as far as pitching wise after George Kirby at the 4th. So my strategy after that 4th round pick of George Kirby, I said every time it comes to me, I'm picking pitcher, hitter, pitcher, hitter, pitcher, hitter. And that's how I went. That's how I went about my strategy in order to fill my team out, get a good hitter, get a good pitcher. And that's kind of what I did. As you can see, I went, Encarnacion Strand, Freddie Peralta, Yanier Diaz, which is projected to be one of the top 5 catchers in the league this year as far as production. And then
he will be.
He will be. Yeah. And then
Who's on the left? Who's on the left? Is that Ian's team?
This is Ian's. Yes, that's Ian's team. Yeah, we're going to talk to Ian next week, Eric, about his team.
Yeah.
So then I went, Class A, who he still had the most saves, but he wasn't as dominant as he was the year before. So I'm hoping he gets back to his dominant self, but he's still only 25 years old. So
now with that, get him out of Cleveland.
Yeah.
Get him over the Dodgers are going to win 102 or 103 games. You'll see that save total go up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And he, like I said, he's just, he's only 25 years old, which is insane.
Then I actually like where you got Jake Burger though.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like Jake Burger's another guy that like projects to hit the ball hard every time, no matter where it's going. It's getting hit hard. So I love Jake Burger right
And
there.
he's not even 30 yet, right?
He's
What
not
is
30. Nope. I think he's 27. You know,
Right.
Santander. He carried my team pretty much by himself last year. Like I love that guy. So like I had to get him again. I like Helsley coming back from injury. He kind of dominated. Young gun, Kerry Carpenter. I think that he is I don't know. He's a diamond in the rough. Like I think he's going to have a fucking outstanding year. Like the way he hits the ball is just it's repetitive. You know,
It reminds me a lot of Max Kepler when he was younger.
right? Yeah, and like that kind of just says like he'll be a constant, guy that's going to hit the ball hard. Braxton Garrett, another young arm. Miami just has fucking pitching. It's just insane down there. And then I said, okay, let me just get some guys, fill out my bullpen, and then let me just get some young guys, some older guys, young guys, older guys. That's kind of how I picked the last ones. Young guys, older guys, young guys, older guys. So that's what it was. I love my favorite pick in my draft. I'm gonna say mine, and then we go back and talk about your favorite and your least favorite. My favorite pick was Mikael Garcia. I think he has so much untapped potential. I think he's going to steal 40 bags, some crazy shit, like that. And we'll just see what happens. And then Yohan Rojas down here, if they give him time, if they don't give him time, he's off of the team. If they give him time, I think he's going to, give us something. So we shall see. So that my favorite pick was Mikael Garcia. Before we let Caleb get out of here, Caleb, what was your favorite pick on your draft?
I mean, I loved my pitching in general. Like I loved how I did that. My favorite pick probably maybe was Shane McClanahan or getting Byron Buxton the way I got him.
Right.
We'll see with like Mason Miller and Gavin Lux and what they do at the end. But I think they could turn it up a little bit, especially Mason Miller if he goes in the bullpen. That's
look at the screen, Asinine.
He's a fucking idiot. He's an idiot.
So we're gonna talk to Wolfpack Stoner's team next week. Hopefully, we can get him on the show and talk about his team. But I understand like your pitching is fucking.
That's another Macism.
Like let's call it it's balanced. That's what I love about your pitching. It's balanced. You got some young arms, and then you got some guys that are just flat out,
Yeah, I mean, with Luis Castillo and Tyler Glass now,
Yeah.
my 1-2, and then Bobby Miller and Perez. I mean, you have Young, and those are great pitchers
right.
in my mind. And then Shane Baz coming back from injury and Gavin Williams, I think could be SP1, SP2 someday. But I think Shane getting Shane in the 19th round. He's only 26-year-old coming off TJ. Obviously, I won't have him this year, but I'll have him for next year. But one thing that I do probably wish I did a little different is I didn't really get bullpen arms, but I knew that's fine because bullpen arms, you can pick them off waiver wire every single year. My thing that I always go back to is probably when I started a dynasty drafting with my guys from school. I picked up Felix Bautista and Alexi Diaz off the waiver. Those are guys that just come out of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's just what will happen with bullpen arms. So getting Kenley and Lakiri is like fine, but they'll just serve for now. But I do have Felix Bautista coming for next year, which will be good to have him back.
Right. So I know you got to get up out of here. So I'm glad you made it time for us to come on, Caleb. And it's always a good time. And thank you for putting this together for us and being a commish and all that good stuff. So I know you got to roll. So let's say goodbye to you. And
See you, Caleb.
we're gonna keep it going and try to wrap it up.
Drafted all them overrated young players.
I'll make the bet with you too. I'll kick your ass.
You said that last year.
Yeah. So let's go to Eric since you up on the big screen. You said something about you wish you would have did Goldie, but what did you like? What was your favorite pick?
Yeah, I mean, so last year, as terrible as I drafted, one thing I caught on to early was the holds plus saves that Mac brought up early. So last year I knew there was no reason to draft a closer because I could pick up setup guys and get both categories at the same time. This year, if there was a flaw in our system or one thing that I think was an area to be exploited was the fact they gave us 8 injured reserve players. So like if you scroll down to like is my IR even on there?
I don't know if no, it's not. I would have to go to you.
Anyway, it's Sandy. I took Sandy as the last pick.
Yeah, Sandy's down.
Stash him for a year, and I picked up Brandon Woodruff and stash him for a year, and I still have 6 more injured reserve spots, and I get to add him to my roster next year as like a Dynasty. If I had to say my favorite pick would probably be, gosh, I don't know, probably Max Fried. Like I think you could argue I think he was like 8th or 9th on the betting deal for the Cy Young Award. Wouldn't surprise me if he got there. I hated the Goldsmith pick. Go down a little bit more. Let me see who I got down.
I like getting Max Fried 6.
Getting Zach where I got him.
Who?
Exactly where I got him. That's crazy. Like he was number 2 in starters and whip behind Cole last year. Like the fact that I got him in the 13th round is nuts. What I was kind of looking for at the end was some balance to my team. I knew I had some strikeout merchants again. Like I knew I did with Yelich, with Outman, with Eloy. So like if you look where I went, like McNeil and Benintendi back to back, that was like, so can I balance my team? Here's a tip. I know none of us will listen because we're all stubborn assholes and stubborn scumbags. But the tip reason I was successful last year was like maybe you play Eloy and Outman for a couple games, you get the home run lead, and you bench them for the rest of the week because you don't want them striking out 19 times, and you put in like a Jeff McNeil or a Benintendi that don't strike out, so you can come back in that category. And that's what I did a lot of last year. So yeah. I wasn't looking for like in the late rounds. I'm not looking for somebody that's going to be on my roster forever who could balance out my lineup. Can I go if I'm playing somebody that's not going to strike out a lot? I won't play my strikeout guys. If I'm playing somebody power, I'll play my power guys. Like I was looking for a bench that I could maneuver. I also really like
go ahead.
Maneda's pick. If you look at what he did in the second half and you move him into Detroit's big ballpark, I think that's a pretty valuable pick there.
Oh yeah. Kenta. Yeah, he's an older guy. I want to say he's like 35 or something.
He's up there.
Let's see. How old is he? Kenta he's 35. Yeah, I called it. So yeah, he's an older guy. So I mean, you're going to get some couple years out of him, but in that big ballpark, that's better for him.
Like I said, I'm a little bit more in Nine's camp and Mac's camp than you and Caleb are. Like I don't care if my team's going to be good in 3 years. I'm trying to hang up another ship this year. So like when I got in these late rounds, it wasn't like which kid can I get that might be good in 3 years. Who can balance my roster? Who can maybe help me win? Filling if somebody gets hurt this year. That's what I was looking for. Yeah,
I wanted to be competitive this year while also setting myself up for future success. So Asinine, we talked about your team a lot. So favorite pick, I know your favorite pick has to be this guy, Juan Soto. But is there another guy that you was like, okay, I'm surprised he was still here?
Gabby Moreno, and it's kind of funny on how I got him. Me and someone who shall not be named were talking in a space, and he was confiding in me about how much he wanted him, and I forgot Gabby Moreno even existed, and I played it cool like I didn't want him in the slightest. But I immediately texted Dan and asked him to trade up, and I took him right in front of he who shall not be named. So
I thought that was a shrewd move.
Hey, I'm one of the. Hey, I'm a dirty human being. I've never claimed to be.
I thought he was because I was going to pick him too. I decided to go catcher early with Yanier because I really wanted him for the next however many years. I mean, he's one of the best young catchers in the league. So, but Gabby is also young, and Gabby hits for average. Gabby hits into all gaps, and he just doesn't strike out. So that's just like, as a catcher, that's like, wow, can't really find that.
And then on top of that, with as much speed is sitting behind him, he's gonna have. Sitting in front of him, he's gonna have a lot of chances of driving runs.
Yeah, RBIs are gonna rack up. Yep, for sure. Mac, you got some pitchers toward the end of the draft.
Why you ain't pick Colas, Mac?
What made you pick Alex Lang? You think he's gonna have a bounce back year?
He didn't have a bad year last year.
No, he was all right.
Yeah.
Mac's roster's got the most Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde for me. Some of these picks I absolutely love.
Right.
I love Jordan Lamar, like you mentioned. I loved Hunter Green, huge upside. Even Lang that late, like you said, taking a chance on sale. But then TJ, love TJ. And then absolutely just hate the Jonathan India pick, hate the Crawford pick. Like it's the Chapman pick, like you mentioned. But like it's funny, like some of them I think are like elite, and some I'm just like would pass on. Like
I think Mac tried to do his best to kind of like fill his roster out with guys that could do multiple things toward the end of the draft. Am I right, Mac?
Yeah, to me with Jonathan India, that was more like a utility guy. So you have to think like with him, he's not gonna be a starter, so he's gonna be a bench player. So he's gonna play on mostly off days, stuff like that. I think with Crawford, I just seen his upside. Not his upside, but what he did in the second half. Like I watched.
Yeah, he was lights out last year.
Yeah, honestly, besides Julio Rodriguez, he really started to carry the Mariners. You know what I mean? And then
he's only 29. I didn't know that. I thought he was older.
No, and not only that, like, did you see his walks? Like the amount of walks he got actually shocked me a little bit.
JP.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he stole what 15 or 16 bases last year, something like that.
Yeah. Hey, stop texting me about my phone vibrating, asinine. You just worried because
it sound like you fucking farting. I'm trying to help you and shit. It sound like you farting.
It does sound
that's
like
you, man, huh? But anyway, stop texting me about that phone. Anyway,
actually, he only had 2 stolen bases last year.
Not stolen bases, walks.
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
So he had 94
walks.
Yeah, that actually shocked me. And then if you look at his slug was above average, and his OPS was fairly above average too. Yeah. His batting average wasn't bad. So I think actually a lot of people kind of slept on him. And then when you look at the shortstop position right now, it's not like it's filled with a bunch of great hitters. It's really not. So to me, that was a solid pickup, a solid move. But I would say my favorite pick would be Julian. I think a lot of people kind of slept on him. To me, he's a second baseman that has some power. Uh-huh. You know what I mean? Can get some walks. So I really like that pick. And then I would say my other favorite pick would be Sale. Getting him that late, I actually thought Sale would go earlier than that. I think a lot of people look at his numbers and they disappointed, but really he only had like 3 to 5 bad starts or 3 to 4 bad starts, which really blew some of his numbers up. Other than that, he was kind of solid. He was Chris Sale. Yeah. And my third favorite pick after that was Capusano as a catcher. I thought that was a good pickup as well. You know. Yeah. I got Montgomery kind of late too, so that was a solid pick as well. So.
Yeah. And this helps us get through this one. That way, when we get the other guys in here to talk about their teams, then we and Eric don't even have to talk about our teams. That's but right. So I just want to thank Eric and Caleb and Nine and Justin. Like since we met almost 3 years ago, I was illiterate as far as like how to understand advanced stats and understand how the stats can tell you the whole story on players, right? So learning how to read Savant, reference, StatCast numbers and all that stuff, that helped me pick my end of my draft. So the bottom half of my draft is really guys that I studied up and said, do they have upside? Can they hit the ball hard? What else can they bring to the table? Can I get strikeouts from him? And so on and so forth. So basically, everything after Pivetta, they have projected numbers to, really like have outstanding years just putting the ball to the bat, plus strikeouts, plus not strikeouts, plus stolen bases, plus average, plus some Jesus Sanchez. If he ever figures it out, he's got massive pop. And Tavares was on my team last year. He's a switch hitter. He hits better from the left side, but he does steal bases. But my thing with him is I don't know how much playing time he's going to get now that they're thinking about moving on in the outfield. So that's always a thing. So
you got robbed over Varsho.
Well, Varshaw's my least favorite pick.
But I'm saying you got robbed because if he had kept his catcher designation,
he would move way up.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of worried now that I'm going to have another player lose his. I don't know if Salvi's going to play that much catcher this year.
I'll tell you something that's interesting, Ray, and I appreciate you saying that. And I know not everybody's about our style, but I also really don't care. And I know we take a lot of hit because we talk a lot of smack, we do a lot of things. But I find it funny if you're ever in our spaces or if you ever listen to when I was on BGR or when we were recording and we were doing shit, we told everybody Jake Berger's bat plays.
Oh, it does.
Told everybody it plays. Guess which third baseman used to be for the White Sox got drafted, and guess which one didn't?
Exactly.
The whole entire dynasty draft.
Yeah.
The one who's making $25 million didn't get drafted in a 26-round draft, and the one they traded away got drafted. Yeah. And it was unpopular and took a lot of heat for that 3 years ago when we told everybody that Berger's bat played.
And Berger's bat plays.
Yeah, I'm glad he brought that up.
Way
more. I still took a lot of heat about Yohan Moncada, and I told people that 4 years ago.
Yeah.
We were trying to move him every day of every episode of every game we watched. Mac and I were trying to trade him.
Yeah, he was absolutely.
But the fact that what did we get back for Berger?
Actually, you know what?
We got Jake Eater, who's 24, who has had TJ twice and has never pitched an MLB game.
You know what? I want to say something about that.
I don't know if you guys have read recently though, but supposedly his speed's way back up. His velocity's way back up.
Now everybody know I like KW because he ultimately, brought us a World Series. But I'm gonna be honest, that Jake Berger move was absolutely trash. To be honest, though, you give up on a kid like that after he fought as hard as he did to come back, and it wasn't like he wasn't hitting for power or anything. You seen the power in his bat, and actually the White Sox was short on power. So why would you make that move? I don't understand. It made no sense whatsoever.
And not only that, you put the kid they traded for in such a tough spot. He's always going to be the guy they traded away fan favorite Berger for. If the guy don't make the rotation someday, it's going to be a bust, even if he ends up being a decent bullpen guy or something. But no, I didn't care for it either. But I just wanted to point out that even though we're not meant for everybody, you should still pay attention.
Right.
Yeah, I actually. We are meant for everybody. You just got to get out your feelings.
There you go.
Get out your feelings. Because I picked Jake Berger the 9th round or some crazy shit.
I will be honest. I thought your draft was gonna be garbage, Ray. Especially after you made that huge mistake. I'm to move up.
His buddy came and bailed him out. Let him get back in the 3rd round.
Yeah. I had to get back in that 3rd round, bro.
My phone started ringing. Eric, I need to get back in here. I
gotta get back in the 3rd round. Whatever you need to get me back in the 3rd round, you have it.
Hey, Ray, I called your trade the Mitch Trubisky trade.
Hey, that shit pissed. And not for nothing, I gave up too much. I didn't realize 2-1. I didn't realize I gave up 2-1. I was I gave up 2-1 because I didn't write it down. I was at work. And one thing I learned, I would never do a trade while I'm at work. I have to be home. I have to be sitting in front of my computer. We got to be talking.
You would have got Kyle Tucker there. You would have got Kyle Tucker.
I don't know if I would have or not because Nick already told me he would have took him.
Nick said he would have took Kyle Tucker?
Yeah.
I'm shocked. I understand, Freddie Freeman is a great first baseman, so I really can't kill that pick too much.
Yeah.
Right.
But I
I
mean,
think Dre the one who changed the whole trajectory of the draft when
Dre,
he picked. Yeah, when he
I
picked.
texted Dre, I told him I'm gonna have him on the show next week.
When he picked
I gotta
what?
ask him.
When he picked Cole and Strider, that
Back
kind
to
of
back.
made put people in the rush mode. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like when you do football and somebody finally takes a tight end, and all of a sudden goes, "Oh shit, nobody has tight ends, right?"
Yeah, because if you look at the draft in this, can y'all see my mouse?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So right there, Strider Cole changed everything. If you pay attention, not a picture was taken until after he picked Garrett Cole. Then all of a sudden, Wheeler, me, Burns, so on and so forth, all started flying off this board because you had to get something to combat this two-headed monster that he just drafted. So that was a shout out to Dre for that. That was dope. But I want to pick his brain to see why he went there. Hopefully we got him next week with Ian and
I actually think Dre did pretty good. I think his baseball acumen's underrated among our group.
Yeah.
I agree.
He's
I told Asinine this as
Asinine
well. He don't want to hear it though.
We got a couple of younger guys that talk too much and overshadow him, but I actually think he's
Caleb said Caleb left and he put the show back on and he said he disagrees big time. Caleb put the show back on and said I disagree big time. I still can't believe Ian, if you're still watching, this is nasty work. You didn't have to say elite like a Macism, as he said.
That's a Macism, absolutely.
Hey, but Asinine, real quick before we go, the
Ian is unbecoming.
The minor league draft is coming up. Like, what you thinking about for the minor leagues?
He don't know. He don't know, right?
No, he's doing.
You getting all your answers from a third source. You're not even doing your own homework. Stop worrying about it.
Like I'm doing my own homework.
Stop worrying about what I know and what I don't know. You don't know shit. So, no.
Like I got names like a mug on my damn phone.
But
that's all fucking.
Mind your business now. Stay out of mine.
You just minded my business. Anyway. Anyway, I'm not touching pitchers. I'm going straight hitters. I'm not touching a single pitcher because even if
you got Yamamoto right there.
Yeah, but I mean, if he gets to me, I probably will take him. Will take him because my rotation is a little weird.
But you're not even thinking Paul Skeens?
No.
Wow.
Nah.
I know a
lot of people say he's can't miss.
I know what he's thinking.
But I mean, I get it.
But you know, the one guy that I do want is Wyatt Langford, but I know he's not getting past Caleb, and I can't move. I've already tried. I can't move to 1 or 2, so I'm kind of just fucked. So
you can move to 1. What you willing to give up?
What do you want for 1, Mac? You tell me what you want, so I can just so I can. So
you know it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, I know it's gonna be ridiculous. What do you want?
Your first, second, and your 4th. We got a deal.
We can do that.
I changed my mind.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. Hey, so Eric, we're going. Whenever we figure this out, we're gonna have a really big show. We're gonna have a BGR Juke Joint collaboration for the minor league draft. But before we even think about it, what are you thinking going into the minor leagues?
Like, it's interesting. Like, the way this is set up is pretty cool. So you almost have to balance where your current team's at, right? We talked about it last show. You got to look to layer in. Mac brought it up. Like, Mac's going to have to look to layer in a few of position players because he's got a couple older guys, like he's talking about, right? Like Trout and Judge, how many years they have behind him. He's going to want guys that are able to take their place for a couple years. Like, so I think layering is important. I think 90% of prospects are busts.
Right.
So, like, I'm going to hopefully be able to hit a couple guys that maybe show up early. And to be honest with you, I'm going to look to fucking trade them for proven major league talents. That's what I'm going to try to do on the deal. But it's cool to be able to look to think to some of the stuff that I've loved forever, which will be, you know, stuff that you and I have talked about, the advanced stuff, the metrics. Now that StatCast is in the minor leagues and being able to look who will project, who will be able to play. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Don't get me wrong.
And we got to start looking at service time and stuff like that, because that's going to play into like where they're going to get traded to and all that kind of stuff. It's crazy.
Like all that. You got to think about, if you're doing this and you're doing this right, you better pay attention to where you're going to have to fill and where you can't fill, because you don't want to be clogging up your bench with kids that aren't there yet, because you can't leave them in the minors forever once they get called up. So, I mean, it's a very interesting draft. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. My strategy is basically, thank you, Mac, for bolstering my minor league draft. Mac and I made a trade. He's got the number 1 overall pick, and he's going to pick, one of the top 3 guys, whichever choice he makes. Who knows where he's going? I know where he's going, but if he decides to tell people, he'll tell people. But I got 2 picks in the first 3 rounds. So basically, I got 2 picks in each of the first 3 rounds. So
how you skip over my strategy?
I'm skipping over your strategy because you only got 1 pick. You only got 1.
I got a 4th round pick
in the first 3 rounds. But I'll come back to you. But at the same time, like,
that surprised the hell out of me, Mac, too. As much as you love minors, as much as you love stuff, I'm surprised you gave up that much.
He gave up that much, and I said sold. As soon as he said it, yes, let's do it. He actually went through with it, which shocked me. I thought he would renege, but he didn't. So it was like, oh man, I got a chance to bolster my team on the backside. Pause. I got a chance to.
Wow.
Yeah. I got a chance to get my team right in the minors, and like you said, in my mind, most of them are not going to make it, but there are some guys who have the traits, and you can kind of see it when you do the study work. So Mac, it's on you, and then we're gonna get up out of here.
Yeah, I mean, I did give up a lot, actually. Actually, I wish I had to say the 1st, 2nd, and the 4th instead of giving up my 3rd. But anyway. There's going to be a lot of mistakes made in this minor league draft anyway. So you're going to find value later on regardless. It's probably players right now. I'm sure it's players in the top 100 that shouldn't be there. And it's players not in the top 100 that should be there. So it's going to be all about finding that value. The reason I gave up that much for the number 1 pick is because it's like, getting as close to a surefire thing as you can as a prospect and a young one. And this guy's probably going to have several different designations when he reached the major leagues. He's probably going to have multiple positions that he'll be able to play. And not only that, I don't care what anybody says. Like, if you have a hit tool, if your hit tool is that good, it normally travels with you. You know what I mean? Now because I just tell people right now I'm going Jackson Holiday. Now will the power come? We don't know. We'll see. But when your hit tool is that good as a high schooler, that's pretty impressive.
I think he has untapped power, and I think.
But I'm just saying in general, like
even if he just becomes a 20-30 guy, that's still good.
Like I remember, it was Ozzie Albies at the time. The debate was, will he ever gain power? But nobody had any doubt that he could hit. It was just, would Albies ever gain any power? And of course, he gained that power. So to me, with minor leaguers or prospect in general, hitters, I try to see if they can put the bat on the ball. That's the most important thing. Then I worry about everything else later. Because you got some guys that absolutely have a monstrous power but can't consistently put the bat on the ball. So that's what I look for.
Yeah. So I think that we kind of broke it down really well tonight or today or whatever you want to call it this evening. And I appreciate y'all coming on the show with me, man. Me and Eric appreciate y'all popping on here talking about.
That was a good show. That was fun.
Yep. Talk about your teams, and then like next week y'all get a chance to be in the comments and shit on the other scumbags when they come in here to talk about their teams.
Oh yeah,
somebody's gonna have to explain how they traded away Bobby Witt in the Dynasty League. I know that. Somebody's gonna have to answer that question.
Dustin will explain it. You may not like his answer, but he makes it make sense.
I'm gonna be honest. I would like how to ask Dan why Dan didn't go. I thought he should have went the route of. I had no problem with him going. So he got his shortstop.
Yeah.
Then he go Bo Bichette. I thought he should have went a little older as far as and got my man from the Texas Rangers. I thought that would have been.
Oh, you say he should have got Seager?
Yeah, I thought that would have been a better move instead of going Bogarts. I mean, not Bogarts.
Devers.
Bichette instead of.
Oh, well, he went Bichette Devers. Like
I would have. He should. To me, he should have went. He should have went. Why does man keep slipping my name? Anyway, he should have went Seager and Devers. That would have been top 10.
I feel you. Well, we're gonna ask him next week, and if we forget and you watching, just make sure you pop into the
comment. Seager should have been MVP, by the way. He should have won MVP. To me,
did he win World Series MVP though?
No, he should have won AL MVP. I'm
saying, didn't he win the?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's big time right there. So, anyway, anybody got anything else for the people out there?
Just thanks for coming on, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And if you, I appreciate everybody who tuned into the last show with when we talked about the Bears with me and Elise. Appreciate y'all. That was a lot of love shown on that one.
That was a great show, by the way, Ray. Great show. I like to tip my cap to you and Eric. Thank y'all for inviting us BGR guys on the Ray's Juke joint. Nice baseball conversation as usual.
Yep, I appreciate you coming on and the BGR crew coming with you. I appreciate y'all like y'all know y'all family, so that's what it is. And then next week, I hope we can have the other guys on, and maybe we'll have another show with Elise as far as going into some more football stuff or whatever. We shall see. Who knows what the future holds? All I know is today was a good day, and we about to just cut the lights off in here, okay? All right, so this Ray's Juke joint, I'm Ray the Barber, Eric, Asinine, Mac, thank you guys for coming on, and we out of here.